Today is International Men's Day. What are the things you would like to say to men who are struggling with their mental health? Depression is a liar. It tells you lies. Try to remember that in your dark and rough times. It is really good at manipulating your feelings. A lot of people are here to parrot the same basic phrase. It's not weak for men to express how they're feeling. Don't be afraid to open up. As a dude who's been through extreme depths of mental health, I want to stand up and say this. No matter how well intentioned you may be, simply stating this online is not enough to change anybody's life. Most of the men I know aren't actually afraid to admit what's wrong. Not at all. The problem is that many people in general, but especially us guys, in my experience, are used to receiving zero empathy for our problems, or in some way or another, inviting more drama if we tell people close to us about them. Not everybody is a worthy listener. Women, in particular, aren't magically all saints who you can actually trust when the going gets tough. A lot of us know what it's like to have people close to us either admit that it's unattractive if we are vulnerable, or simply take whatever delicate information we confide in them about and run with it. This is depressingly common. If you want men to feel like opening up, you have to be an actually well-adjusted human being yourself who is worthy of hearing about the private issues of this man who you're hoping will feel ready to discuss them 99% of the time. It's best to accept most people are not that. Being more stoic on average and feeling less of a need to process things by talking about them is advantageous in this society. Too many people are full of crap. I'm going to say professional therapy with someone who deserves their job because they know how to treat clients is the closest thing available to a lot of the general public to an environment where we can actually talk. Not everyone can foot the bill for that. Please pay attention to how you treat people. Understand that usually being guarded makes perfect sense for a lot of us. Feel free to take your time on things. Don't overthink it and just take a break. Take your time. Life isn't meant to be lived fast, so don't feel pressured to keep up. Take time to notice what's around you instead of continuing forward. It's not weak to ask for help if you need it, and it doesn't make you less of a man. I should know. Eater said it in a further comment below, but for anyone out there feeling they can't talk to anyone, I will listen to you. I'm just some random stranger on the internet who doesn't know you in real life. There are no repercussions in talking to me. If that's one thing that's holding you back, I'm just maybe a chance for you to feel better. Second edit. Thanks to whoever gave me silver. I just wish I had remembered to switch from my porn account first. Lol. Third edit, and thanks for the gold. I'm glad to see people agree with the message, because it's really important to me that it gets out there to anyone who needs to see it. Guys, hear me out on this. Foremost, you aren't the only one thinking / feeling / being mentally unwell. It will feel like that, I promise you. Your mind is lying to you when you hear that in a voice say nah man, no one knows about this shit except you. Your boys don't go through this shit. Your family can't know you are struggling. No one else feels like this, just you. Better not say anything, they might judge you, or insert fear reason here. That is categorically false, whether us men will collectively admit it or not. Best advice my shrink ever gave me was permission to feel crappy. Permission to tell myself that it's okay to feel bad for a moment. Freedom to accept those emotions because they are real, they exist, and they are happening right fucking now. So how can I say this? Because I struggle. You read that right. Present tense. I struggle. Every day is a choice to either give in or fight. Some days are easier than others, but even I feel down. I know it will pass, and I'm no less human for feeling like dog shit. So now you might feel okay for a hot second with your newfound permission to accept the very real feelings you have. Great. But your journey is just starting. It's gonna be hard, man. I won't lie to you. It's gonna take a lot of work. This journey will have setbacks. Pick one person in your life that you trust most. Friend, family, significant other. Pick that person and be a little honest with them. Start by saying something like, hey X, I haven't been feeling great lately. Yeah, I think this has been getting to me. I think I'm gonna go talk to a professional about it. Does that make you vulnerable to another person? Yes. Does that put you at risk for any kind of reaction? Absolutely. But it also gives you a controlled environment to practice being honest to yourself and with someone else. Cause let's face it homie, you haven't been honest with yourself up to this point, and I'm thinking you need the practice. Now that you did a little practice run, you gotta jump into the game. Player. If you don't play the game, you'll never win. Take stock of what resources you have. If you have medical coverage, go online and look for mental health providers. If you have employee assistance programs, through your job, you typically have some access to at least a few free sessions. This is your start. This is your opening to talk with someone. Be honest, be vulnerable. Caveat here fellas, not all mental health providers are the same. Just like people, you won't like everyone. Make some phone calls, have some initial conversations to see if the provider can make you feel comfortable and confident they can assist you. There has to be some mutual trust and respect if you and the professional are gonna accomplish anything. That is how you get started. That is how you break things down into small steps. That is how you go from being horrible on the couch to being horrible at the shrink to being less horrible at home. It's a journey, not a light switch. Show your strength and courage by being honest. It's the strongest thing you can ever do. I should know. It saved my marriage. Edit. Thank you for the awards. Edit 2. I've never received a good award before. I'm humbled and honored. In brutal honest fashion, I was struggling a little this AM and had a really long day of work. I log in to see this and it brightened up my night. Thank you. The awful way you feel. The terribly cruel way you tell your story back to yourself. Those are symptoms. Like an upset stomach or a fever. No big deal. You just need some treatment. Maybe therapy, maybe medicine. You wouldn't just walk around with a stomachache for years, blaming yourself for being too weak to live happily with an eternal stomachache. You'd go to the doctor. Same with mental health. If you've got symptoms, work on getting some treatment. Well, what people usually say is don't be afraid to ask for help. But what people don't know is that most people don't give a fuck and there aren't much help for men with mental issues. I've been struggling for years with self-harm and suicidal thoughts, but I've had to try to cope on my own. Whenever a man speaks out about not feeling great, a man or a woman is always quick to retort that you should stop feeling sorry for yourself, or you're a man. You've got nothing to complain about, and that includes medical personnel. Even therapists say things like that. Every day is Men's Day some say, but no, not for all men. But yeah, I'll most likely just get downvoted for this, or people will tell me I'm lying. That's how it usually goes. I don't know whether it really fits the topic, but you know how everyone always says you have to treat your girlfriend like a queen. But every queen has to take good care of her king. Don't date anyone who does not treat you like a king. Relationships can sometimes be really unhealthy, but you might not notice it. They can totally ruin your mental health, so be careful. Also, if you need anyone to talk to, feel free to DM me. Talking to someone can really help sometimes, though not as much as a visit to a therapist. Guys, whatever you are currently going through, you have my support. I speak from the heart, as someone who lost a dear male friend last month to suicide, and as a woman who struggles with her own mental health. I say just this: let your loved ones love you. Allow them to be there for you. My friend John found this year very difficult, but we didn't have a clue, because he had that awful idea that men need to be strong, or that he was somehow going to be a burden, by telling us that there was a big problem, and that something was very wrong. He acted just fine, bubbly even. Well, now John is a huge burden to the dozens upon dozens of family members and dear friends that he has left feeling bereft, guilty, devastated and unable to sleep due to the painful night terrors that come. The endless searching for missed signs, missed opportunities to be there for him. He didn't give us that chance. We'd have done anything to help him, given the world to be given the opportunity to show up for him. Now all we have is a great side. That's the burden. You're not a burden in life. Mental illness absolutely thrives on your silence. It counts on you saying nothing, so it can live in your head and your head alone. So it can manipulate your thoughts and emotions, and make you believe things that could not possibly be further from the truth. You're not a burden in life, but you are one in death. We now carry the burden of John. I'm not angry at him. I've come close to suicide myself, but I'm hurt and sad that he didn't see me as someone he could approach. I'd have met him for a coffee and listened to him all day and all night. Men, you are loved, and you are valuable, and it is strong to talk to someone If you are suffering with your mental health, you owe yourself, and you owe your loved ones. You don't owe mental illness the loyalty of your silence. You owe it nothing. That first reach out, that first conversation with someone, when you say that you're not okay, the problem immediately halves. We don't expect you to live a life tormented by mental anxiety. We love you. Please let us love you. For any guys who need to make that first step, but don't know what it looks like, there are a number of paths you can take. You can choose someone you love and trust and ask them for a coffee and a chat. You can tell them that you're not okay right now and ask if they'll listen. If you don't want to speak to someone you know, go and see your doctor. The doctor will hear you out and ask you some questions to determine how best they can help you. Hotlines are a godsend, especially in the dead of night when you're scared of being dramatic and calling a friend. Call them. You are loved and you are valued. Please give us the opportunity to love you. To all men on International Men's Day, you are important and you are needed. You are there for us when we need you. Please give us the opportunity to be there for you too. RIP my dear friend. I hope your story can help someone else.